they don't have to yell like crazy people.
All right, yes.
So I'm Jeanette and I just want everyone to introduce themselves and what your books are. Like, tell us a little bit about them.
My name is Agmius. I do artwork primarily, and I have a couple of comics over there that I work on.
Awesome.
Did the most recent cover of our New England Horror Writers compilation.
Perfect.
I'm Trisha Wildridge. I write evil children's stories and YA. I have my books on the bottom shelf there. It includes evil child-eating fairies. I also do science fiction, and I also have a vampire comic that I do the writing for. You know me.
Hi, I'm James Kozlowski. I wrote Die You Bastard Die. My editor was John Skip. I don't know if you guys know Skip from the days of Splatterpunk. And I also do the horror crocheting, the skulls, the ski masks.
It's awesome.
And catnip toys. Don't forget the catnip toys.
Yes, absolutely. And last but not least, of course.
Hi, I'm Scott Galford. I am one of the coordinators of the New England Horror Writers. I write horror and nonfiction. I have a vampire novel. I write a bunch of Lovecraftian stuff. More vampires, zombies, a lot of zombies of late, and a lot of Lovecraftian stuff.
Awesome.
Hey, so come a little closer, Kristina. I just want to ask one question of all of you. Was there a specific book or writer or artist that really affected how you became, how you've grown into your own style?
I started off with Edgar Allan Poe. When I was in 5th grade, my teacher read it to us out loud, and The Telltale Heart kind of started it. And late coming to the interview is Mr. Rob Smales.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your books are and your writing style?
Most of the things that I'm in are anthologies because I tend to write short stories. I've only been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and I'm trying to learn what to do through short stories. Thank you, Scott. We're currently having City Tales 2, in which I have 2 stories, and I co-edited the book with Stacey Longo, who's down there. My style is very conversational. I'm not very artsy. I just kind of use the words that everybody would use every day. And no, I didn't start with Edgar Allan Poe. My mother was giving me Stephen King to read when I was 4. So it just kind of flowed.
Yep, there you go. That'll start you off, right?
Awesome.
What's your influence?
I would say Frank Frazetta is probably my biggest influence. He's been around since Conan back in the day. He's passed away since then, but just left a legacy. It always drew me into his artwork, and just couldn't help but draw. So,
Awesome.
but
I have a lot. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so our entertainment was going to yard sales and buying all the books we could find for 25 cents a piece, or a bag for $1. So, and my mom wasn't a reader, so she didn't govern at all what I read. So there was Stephen King in there when I was 8, and then I got into Dean Koontz and the Fear Street stories. I also picked up a lot of science fiction fantasy. So Madeleine L'Engle was a huge influence on my children's writing. And then as I got older, I loved Neil Gaiman, and that influenced my comic writing.
Awesome.
How about you?
I really remember the cover of Salem's Lot. And I'm a little older than most of you guys, so it came out in paperback, and it was a department store, and I fell in love with it, and that was it. And then Kolchak the Night Stalker. I was a huge TV kid, and I absolutely loved Kolchak. And I think the thing I realized about it was they didn't believe him, and that's what drew me to it, is because he was telling the truth, and nobody believed him.
Hi, I'm Jack Haringa. I'm an English teacher, and I am the head of the board of directors for the Shirley Jackson Awards, and I'm a short story writer and horror critic. My most recent story was in the Rick Hodala tribute anthology called Mr. October in Volume 1.
What is like one piece of horror, anything that really inspired you and kind of set you on wanting to create the genre?
Wow, I mean, there's so many things, but I think one of the things is that I grew up in Sutton, Massachusetts, in a small town, and the woman who lived across the street was my babysitter. She lived in this house that was built in like 1757, and we'd sit in her kitchen and play Scrabble and drink tea, and she would tell me stories about the ghost that lived in her attic, and tell me about it, stomping down the stairs or shaking the lamps and stuff like that. And then, my parents would send me back to my house. Oh, have a nice night, And so that was that, along with like watching Creature Double Feature and reading Famous Monsters, was sort of my real elementary school level entree to the horror stuff.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Start with a babysitter who just
Absolutely.
messes with your head.
Messes with your head. Sweet little old lady with tea and cookies and ghost stories. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks for talking with me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, another Ambush interview. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure, I'm Matthew M. Bartlett, Bartlett. And the M is in there because if you look up the name without the middle initial, you get terrible people who are not writers and who flipped off the judge during the Casey Anthony trial, and just so I had to use the initial.
What have you been working on lately?
I'm working on the follow-up to my first book, which was called Gateways to Abomination. It's about it's interconnected short stories and vignettes about a radio station or radio broadcasts that affect a small town in Massachusetts.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's at first you don't realize they're interrelated, these pieces of fiction, and then it kind of builds into a story.
Oh, that's fun. I love
A
that.
couple of other things, a limited edition chapbook called Rangel, and Witch Cult in Western Massachusetts, which is fully illustrated. And then I think a lot. Rare Book and Ephemera catalog. Each entry in it is not a real book. It's a work of fiction about books that don't exist. So yeah, I've got a lot of things and things I'm working on. And, yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking to us.
Well, thank you for listening to me blather. I appreciate it.
I am J.H. Curry. Nice to meet you.
What have you been working on lately?
Here are mine, right here. This is the one I did years ago, and this is my latest and greatest. And this is a collection of short stories and poetry. And the sequel to Brothers Hudson is in the first part of this one.
Nice.
And so I'm trying to sell them together, doing the best I can.
Yeah. And what is one piece of horror, anything that really got you interested in the genre? Why do you write for it?
Well, I've always read it as a kid. Stephen King, Goosebumps, all those things, Big Red Ring. But this one actually is based on a story I heard as a kid.
Yeah.
And it is supposedly based on a true story about a murder that goes on in a little town, the town where I grew up, and it stuck in my head, and I'm like, I gotta write it down. So this came to be.
That's awesome.
And then when I finished it, I was like, so when is the sequel? When is the sequel? And it took me a long time to get the sequel, but I got it in a second. So there's a nice ending, and then it kind of opens up for a third movie. Didn't really mean to do that, but it's happened.
So, New England horror writers with the lovely information on where to find them.
Yeah.
This is Jeanette. Hi, Kristina.
Thanks for watching. Bye.